Hi, I'm Karen from Finally Home, and I'm really excited to be here with Nabil. I've been actually watching Nabil and have known about his work and have been admiring his work for many, many years now. And I've really thrilled that he's here and talking about his history, how he started as a photographer. He was one of the first people, I think, in Jersey City that was doing work that I felt was just really powerful and really amazing, and highlighting streetwear brands and sometimes local businesses too. And so the fact that he agreed to be here is a huge honor for me. But I just wanted to share Nabil's story. Born and raised Jersey City, but tell us about you, Nabil.
Well, I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm not that cool.
He's so cool.
Just make me seem. So born and raised Jersey City. Pretty much my whole life been here. And then it's when I started photography is when I really started to explore the city more. Just like learn about it and stuff.
Yeah.
Meet all the cool people.
And did you study photography, or it's something that you just learned around town?
Just kind of learned it around town. So the background is was in school. I went to AJCU for college. And pretty much I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just like general ed. So I would switch majors. I was like a teaching major, computer science. And then I thought accounting for a second. No, it was stuck. So then I just didn't know what I wanted to do. It was just like in my fields. And then started just shooting around town, just like iPhone stuff. And then ended up getting a point and shoot. And then from there, started posting stuff on Instagram, and it became oh, I'm kind of decent at this. I'm not totally bad at this. So then I took that and just started just doing that more for friends and just for fun. And then I was oh, maybe I could do photography all the time.
Yeah.
So but I was still in school, so I'm all right, I'm already in debt. So let's figure out what we're going to use this thing for.
And how you could pay.
Yeah.
Pay
So I was oh, let me just do marketing, because I like the fun side of it, obviously, not the business side of it. But it's I learned the business side of it. So. So kind of just did that, and from there, everyone was hey, can you shoot this for me? Can you shoot this for me? And then I'm somehow here. I don't know. I somehow survived that.
Somehow survived.
Somehow.
Yeah, I mean, talent that, yes, your photography is such a gift. But I know you said that you don't go out in the world and talk about your photography so much, but I've definitely seen you work with brands like Wealth & Co., Commonless, and you said you started with streetwear. So were they local Jersey City brands?
Yeah. So the funny thing is, I started with a big brand that a lot of people know now, Sprayground. So one summer, one of my friends met the owner, and then we ended up doing their photographer had gone away for the summer, so they just needed someone to shoot stuff. So pretty much did all that stuff, and then it was crazy because it'd be my stuff would be in stores, and it's oh wait, I just took that photo.
Yeah.
How'd you guys get that? And they'd shoot it in their kind of magazine, showing clients hey, this is what we have coming out. And it became really big, and it was before it exploded. So it was really cool to when I started seeing people actually wearing the bags, I'm oh, I shot that already. I know what that looks like. And from there I met the Prosper guys, who I love. Those are super.
They're amazing.
Yeah, that's family. So one of the owners took me. He said, hey, you want to go to Agenda, which is the big one of those bigger trade shows. And that was it. It was oh, cool. This is streetwear. Then met a bunch of people, and just everyone else was hey, can you shoot for my brand? Can you shoot for my brand? And from there it was just, yeah.
But you said that you don't want to go out there being a photographer, and saying you are, because you only want to be around the people that you want to photograph.
Yeah, so I'm selfish like that now.
With your time, of course.
Yeah, naturally. So doing everything. So it started as photography, and then I do graphic design. I DJ.
I know, that's
there's
the
a bunch
next
of
topic
stuff.
we're going to talk about.
There's a bunch of stuff.
Your DJing life, because I'm really interested in this transition from graphic design and photography into
crazy.
DJing.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it's but pretty much what happened is I started only shooting for homies. Hey, Mackie, obviously, to go back. That's why I'm shooting for Commas all the time, when she wants me to.
Mm-hmm.
Took a little break. I'm back though. She's gonna love me for that. But yeah, just kind of just was oh, I'm only gonna shoot for homies, because it's it feels better. It's cool. You appreciate what I'm doing. I appreciate what you're doing, and it's super easy. So.
And you guys have the same kind of vision.
Yeah, exactly. It's
and
super
also,
easy.
just to share, Mackie is a dear Finally Home friend, and the person who did all the graphic design for the books, and the person
awesome.
who connected us, and is an incredible human. But that's really amazing. And so you're DJing. Are you DJing around Jersey City?
Yeah. So
wait, where?
Literally.
Where can we come?
So the funny thing, I'll give you the background on this. So a good friend of mine, DJ Stadium Status. A lot of people know him. He did a lot of the Tale stuff. I don't know what compelled him to say yes to my idea, and I was hey, can I do a party here for the summer? And it was me and my homegirl, Steph, who
he's DJ Stadium Status?
Yeah.
I feel like I know.
Yeah, if you've been to Jersey, you definitely have
Yes.
seen Stadium
He's
before.
a
Tall white dude.
Yep.
You'd be like,
Yep.
yeah, that's him.
I've also hired him for this.
Yeah, exactly. So he was doing a lot of the bookings for Talday, and then pretty much he should have said no to this, but he decided to be like, hey, yeah, you can do a party here.
That's awesome.
And it became this interesting thing where everyone's like, me and my friend Steph, who started it, we're both not DJs naturally. We do other stuff like creatively, and it was like everyone was like, oh, this is really cool because you guys aren't DJs and this is not your main thing. So it became super interesting where people was like, oh, I like your sound selection because you're not doing typical stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then came from Talday to then knowing the Chilltown people, so Love Lisa, and then we do Chilltown Collective where they do all the parties at Porta where everyone loves and they go crazy for. She kind of just like, it was like, hey, do you guys want to do Red? Which recently closed. So it's like, miss all these places. But yeah, like they all were like, hey, you can just do your party here. And the party's called Work in Progress, WIP for short. And yeah, it's just about us just having fun with our friends.
And like for me, I'm so interested from the creative world. Like you obviously are a creative and you've gone from photography to graphic design and now DJing. Like how is it that you feel like you can channel your creative outlet? Because I think this conversation actually transcends all of the creative outlets that anyone could have, right? So it's the same conversation where people who do photography decide to get into print, graphic design, and I'm always interested in everyone's journey, like especially if you have that creative outlet, how you just redefine yourself randomly, right? And it goes to moms that are, re-entering the world and have a creative side to them, but it can be any scope. But I love to hear this journey part.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is with my photography, anyone who like saw me early on, what you saw then and now is like totally different. It's like I would always experiment, and I would never do the same thing for too long. Like for me, that's
evolve and as an artist.
Yeah,
right?
For me, that just felt like okay, I could do the same thing that people like, or I can just keep exploring and learning and like do what I want to do. So for me, it never felt like a job at that point because it's like cool. One day, I decided I was doing GIFs a lot, just photos, and then I would draw on my photos one week. So it was like changing.
Sorry, I'm really bad at the things. You have to remember I'm outdating this
Got
generation.
you. Yeah, no. So
GIFs.
GIFs. Yeah, GIFs.
GIFs. Not
GIFs.
like GIFs. Okay,
Yeah.
so far.
GIFs.
Sorry. You have to remember.
It's cool. No, it's totally cool.
I'm trying to be cool in the things. You said you're not that cool.
Trust me, I'm not that cool.
But
I don't know how I ended up here. I'm just here somehow. But yeah, like, so pretty much I would always switch the things up. So to people, they would always see like, oh, you never do the same thing over. So for me, it felt like easy just to be like, cool, I want to do this. Like everyone's always like, how did you get started? I'm like, I just told myself I'm gonna do this now. So we're gonna figure it out. And that's my whole career's been like me just being like, let me try this out and then see what happens. Yeah. And it's never been like, luckily I guess everyone around me has never told me, hey, you can't do this. Yeah. They looked at it weird, like, why are you doing this now? I'm like, I just want to.
Yeah, because that's what you feel.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people tend to stop doing. People do things based off the way other people think about it, and it's really about yourself. So like, as long as I'm fine with what I'm doing and I'm happy, like.
I think it's a really important message. I think for like any age and any industry and anything that any person who's trying to go out there and like figure out their own thing. But it's like being true to yourself. Exactly. So I also know that you had said that you're very selective on the photography clients that you work with. So what is it that you're looking for in a photography client? Will you photograph for finally? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you put me on the spot. Yeah, no. I mean, hey, we have the family connection.
Oh,
Mackie,
fine.
so
Mackie,
cool.
yeah.
Mackie, it's cool. You got me.
But what is it that you're looking for? Why would you say yes to a client or no to a client? Because I actually had this conversation with a lot of my friends who are starting brands and consulting, and how do you turn clients down, right? And how do you decide? It's
like a weird thing.
It is a really, really weird thing.
Essentially, you're saying no to money.
You're saying no to money because there's something there that doesn't feel like it connects to you or your vision or your brand. And so how do you help, I guess, define that for yourself? And then how do you like, I feel like I'm constantly telling people, like, if your gut is telling you this is a bad client,
don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah, because I think we all have been in with those clients where it's like, the money is decent, and then you're like, cool, I'll take a little more shit. Can I curse on this?
Yes, you can curse on this.
Yeah, so we'll take a little more shit, and then you'll be like, at the
I'm
end.
I'm just happy that you cursed before me.
Oh yeah, no, it's fine. That's fine. I'm surprised I did that. I lasted that long. Yeah, no. So you'll be like, why am I doing this for all this stress?
Nope.
Yeah, my bad.
Why are you doing it for all the stress?
Because you're just like, why am I dealing with this? And then you realize, okay, there's signs that I should have saw earlier that you're going to be more annoying than you really had to be, because you don't know what you want from this.
Yeah.
So definitely the easiest way to make me want to work with you is you have a clear vision. You're like, hey, I want to do this. This is what I want it to look like.
Yeah.
How do we figure this out? So that's one. Two, if I know you like already, like and we're homies, like outside of like creating, like we've just been friends, it's super easy for me to be like, yeah, cool. Like, because I know how to deal with you already, and I'm like, cool.
But you know their personality,
Yeah.
you know their integrity, what they stand
Exactly.
for. 100%.
So you kind of, we have an understanding already, so it's like a little easier to work with. Yeah, I mean, and definitely there's times when you're looking at like, wow, this money's really good, but then you're like, all right, is it worth my sanity? Yeah. So I feel like I have that conversation
and the
with
creative energy that would be taking away from other projects that
exactly.
maybe fulfill you. And what I've said recently to somebody is, nobody has ever taken on a client that they thought was not a good fit and been like, wow, thank God I took that client on, right? Like that just doesn't happen.
It's always like, oh wow, I knew I shouldn't have took this.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it doesn't ever end the other way. And so I think that knowing that up front and having those tells, definitely as a creative, I feel like a lot of people are looking towards creatives to be like, can you define my brand? You know, can you help me decide what my strategy?
It's like, can you make me cool? Or can you do this for me? It's
like,
yeah, that starts with you first. Like,
yeah,
I can't help you.
Showcase me in the best light and try to figure out what it is that I'm trying to do. But it's a hard thing, unless people stand up for, like, have a clear vision.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the hardest thing is really just being like, no, I don't want to do this. And it's even like, I say no to homies sometimes for stuff. Like, I have a bunch of graphic design clients.
Sorry, and for my friends that don't understand, homies means friends.
Yeah, that means friends, guys.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I'm trying to dumb it down.
No, I get it.
The not cool people.
Got you. So yeah, like I have a bunch of homies who I turn down all the time when I'm like, yeah, I don't have time to work on your thing right now. And I always tell them like, yo, my bad, like I'm sorry I have to tell you this, but I can't. Like I have one client, she's a DJ and I do a lot of her stuff. Like I shoot her stuff and then I do a lot of design for her. And she was like, hey, I might need help with a flyer. And I'm like, yo, I cannot help you right now. Because I was like, one, I'm working on one of your projects that I have to finish. So I don't want to start on the other one. I'm not done with this one. So. Yeah, it's little things like that. Like, but then she's super cool. But she's like, no, I totally understand because like I've said yes to her when I'm like backed up all the time. So she's like, no, it's cool. Like, I'll let it go. But yeah, like it's just little things like that. Getting used to saying no and being like, it's fine.
You have to honor your, what your creative outlet is, what your brand integrity is, like what you are standing up for.
It's like I'd rather not say no to you and then give you some half-assed thing that you're gonna be like, I don't even like this. And I'm like, yeah, I was doing so many things, and it's like, let's not do that and let's just focus on this one thing at the moment.
Can I ask you also, what is some days off?
Wow, okay, that was good. Yeah, so some days off is like the newest project that kind of got started. So to some people it's a clothing brand. It's just to me it's just an idea. So I think as creatives we do this thing where we feel like we have to keep working towards stuff, and it's like if I'm not working, I'm not doing anything. And I'm definitely like the first person always like, if you ask my friends, they're like, yo, do you even take days off? And I'm like, kind of, not really. It just, my days off are like me working on other stuff.
Right, and when you love what you do, it's also, I feel like the good creatives that I've met along the way that share that, it's either like you're working and you're doing better and you're constantly bettering yourself, or you're the worst, right? There is no in between.
Yeah, there's no in between. Yeah. So
or you're failing at all the things, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So what I wanted to do was just kind of tell everyone, hey, it's okay. Like, yo, relax. Like, you deserve this day off. And somehow it's like snowballed into this huge thing where everyone's like, I love this idea that you just gave everyone the free pass to be like, cool, I'm taking a day off. Like, I don't need to just keep working. And yeah, then
So it's a clothing brand around that?
Yes, now it is. Originally it wasn't supposed to be a clothing brand because my whole thing is sometimes I just make designs and I'll be like, cool, I'm gonna put this on a shirt. And one day I'd be like, cool, I'm gonna put this on a skateboard. And it's never supposed to be defined as a clothing brand, but it just became this cool idea that everyone was behind. And everyone's like, yo, can you finally make sure it's with this? And I was like,
it's a good message to remind people.
Yeah. So
stop feeling guilty about just needing a day off.
Exactly. So that's the main idea from it. And then there's different things. Like the last thing I did last year was a Time is Money t-shirt. And pretty much everyone likes fancy things like Rolexes and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Found a bunch of Rolexes images, and somehow I found Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then to let you know, like, time is money, and like your time that you're spending to work towards things, sometimes it's better to spend it on yourself and just be like, cool, I'm relaxing. Yeah. And that was the idea behind it. And that was like everyone's like, oh, I really love this shirt. And to them, sometimes some people are just like, oh, it's just a Rolex on a shirt. But then to me, it's like, no, this is what it really means. So yeah, it's just like a project that I do every once in a while where it's like, hey guys, relax, enjoy yourself.
I mean, and it's such an important message. And I was talking to friends again this week about like in other creative outlets, and sometimes I've been reading these articles as I don't consider myself a creative, but I'm like starting to get into this creative space, and sometimes you want to force yourself to be creative when you're not.
Yeah, it's not something you turn on and off.
And it's like I look back at the work that I do in those times where I'm like, deadline, and putting deadlines on yourself, and you're like, this is shit. Like, what the hell did I do?
If I actually just stepped back and like took time on it.
I know, and so especially this week, I feel like it just got really cold outside, and I just kind of lost my motivation this week, and I was joking that I'm like boss Karen, the girl who like has her stuff together and is like, we're gonna get all this stuff done, put this to-do list, but employee Karen definitely bombed everything this week because she was like, I'm not gonna force it this week. And giving yourself kind of that space again, because if you push yourself when you're not feeling creatively inclined to, then you resent the whole creative process, right? Exactly. And you're not feeling like inspired.
Yeah, you 9 times out of 10, that's the work you hate. You're just like, oh, I could have done way better on this. This sucks. Like,
and how to give yourself the freedom.
Yeah. So
like,
it's kind of just like, just let yourself go. Like, enjoy it. Take the day off. Come back to it later. The work's still going to be there when you come back.
I know, but that's the issue. Is like, in our generation, how many people can take the day off and feel good about it, right? Exactly. But they should be able to, and you're filling up your motivation to get back into it, your excitement to get back into it.
No, definitely. Like,
I think that's an awesome message.
Yeah, look, the first shirt ever released, it was a graphic that pretty much said, I went on vacation and the world didn't end.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it was like the idea, everyone was like, wait, what? And I'm like, because a lot of people do know me, like, I've not taken vacation in like 3 years.
Yeah.
And I know I need one desperately. But yeah, like, it was just to remind myself, like, yo, you can take a break. Yeah. It's okay. Like, everything's gonna be there to come back. But it was like, and the best thing about it, when I first released it, I only sold it for $1. And people were just like, wait, what? Like, there's no way you're really doing this. I'm like, yeah, no, I just want the idea out. Because it's not, a lot of people want to tell me like, hey, it's about the money. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's like, no. I'd sell this to you for $1 if I could. I'd find a way to figure it out because I'd rather you understand the message and get it.
And for people to get out there and to understand, like, that's a really, really important message. I'm going to tie it back to like being a mother, but I sent my last email. I went into labor with my first 8 days late. And it was Christmas Eve, and I joked that my body knew that the office was closed the next day.
It's like, all right, cool.
And I sent my last email at 11:30 at night, went into labor, and then the first one at 4 o'clock in the morning, and was on conference calls the entire time. And at some point, I took like maybe a week, 2 weeks off before I went back to work, and the world did not end. Yeah. But I was fully preparing for the world
the world's
to
gonna
end.
I need to be here. Yeah.
Right. And so like that being like, oh wait. This actually, what?
Yeah, like it's fine. Like you guys
everything will be okay if you take care of yourself. Exactly. Like,
which is like very important. Like you have to take care of yourself. That's something I think we all neglect,
Yeah. So, I think that's an awesome message. And then just to tie it back to, again, you being from Jersey City, seeing the changes that you're seeing, Jersey City being on the forefront of everything that I think that you do, where you make your friendships and business relationships. And what is it Jersey City and the community kind of mean to you, and how does that tie into your life, into your work? And
I would not be who I am if it wasn't for Jersey City. I've met some like awesome people, luckily, that like totally support what I do, whether it's photography, graphics, everything. Like even if it's just me, just like I've met some like amazing people pretty much. Yeah. And I attribute that to the city. I think there's just something about it that just like breeds us to be a certain way. Yeah. Where we're like
watching out for each other.
Yeah, exactly. You watch out for each other. Like I have friends who like they just get into freelance, and then I have other friends who are in freelance, and they'll just be like, "Yo, I know you need gigs. Take this because I don't have time to do this one." And it's just like a little interchanging. It's like a very interesting ecosystem that got created. Yeah. But just being around everyone and just like it's really cool.
And obviously this is for the love of community, and I think that that's a really beautiful thing. Whereas I think in other cities you're feeling like you're competing
it's like you're solo,
with each
by
other,
yourself.
right?
Like, I can't be friends with this person because they do the same thing.
Or
I have like 20 photographer friends.
If you take a piece of the pie, it's less for here, but which is not something that you really see here in a sense. Like everyone's really supporting each other, like on their creative endeavors, on their personal endeavors, and just kind of showing up, I think, for one another.
Oh, definitely.
And so if that's,
Yeah, I think that's like the best thing about it. Like I have friends who do the same thing I do. Yeah. And when there's things I can't do, I'm like, yeah, but you can go to this person. Yeah. And you can go to this person. Instead of being like, I need all the money myself. It's like, no, it's fine. It has to go around. Yeah. And there's enough for everyone. So,
yeah. And so I guess you being part of the Jersey City community and the changes that you've seen, I think it's probably expanding,
Yeah,
right?
like totally. I mean, like there's negatives and positives, obviously, but like that's with anything you get. But luckily, I feel like the positives outweigh the negatives. So.
Yeah, and I think the ones that stand for the community are finding their way to each other.
You're gonna be fine. As long as at heart you're about the community and you're about the city you come from, like you'll be fine.
Yeah. I completely agree. Well, thank you again so much. I mean, Nabil, your work is amazing. I hope that you'll one day agree to photograph a little bit for, finally home. Interesting. And I can't tell you how much it means to me.
No,
and again, I've looked up to your work for so many years, and I know a lot of people who have spoken so highly. We joked earlier before we started this that 5 people that I met this week all knew you, worked with you, and had the most amazing things to say, and how much you've impacted the community. And
I guess I'm doing something right. I don't know.
You what?
I guess I'm doing something right.
You must be doing something right, I guess, is the net on this. And so thank you so much. But this is Karen. I'm here with Nabil, and this was For the Love of Community. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation.
Peace.
Thanks.